Chris Jericho puts his career on the line, and CM Punk teases Daniel Bryan.
What up, Mox?
Guys, again, this is AEW Dynamite review and reaction of a pretty interesting show of AEW Dynamite with one more week pretty much until, a week from the Saturday, All Out, big pay-per-view, seemingly the biggest pay-per-view of the year, but they yet to announce what the hell their WrestleMania, what's their biggest event of the year is going to be, so we don't really know if this is the granddaddy for AEW or not, but it seems to be a pretty wild card for what we're getting. All right, so the show started off with Orange Cassidy versus Matt Hardy. I honestly think Orange Cassidy's been one of the most overexposed people in terms of just his character, not in terms of his skill or anything like that. It's the terms that his character is a guy who you're waiting for him to kick it into gear while he's being like lazy the entire match. He doesn't really do that anymore. He's just a normal wrestler now, who's just kind of like, does his little shtick where he kicks the shins and does that stuff and then kind of just, does this and then that's it. So he's lost a lot of luster as to why he's not really doing anything super important now, minus that one triple threat for the title that he had at Double or Nothing. Cassidy defeats Hardy. What Hardy's doing is not that great either. I kind of wish he would have kept the Metaverse, the whole, all those different personalities, but the Hardy family office or whatever it's called, it's not really working out. Cassidy gets the win. I kind of want this feud to kind of end already.
Yeah, the Cassidy stuff, it kind of is what it is. He's become kind of where you want to throw the 5 moves of doom kind of thing, where he's just kind of, we're waiting for him to do his thing. And that was fun in the beginning and it was awesome. And he's probably the most over guy early on.
I mean, he still is over, but it's just people just like him.
Yeah, we all like him. We're not saying we don't like him, but it's getting a little bit old. And where's this going to go? Like, what does he become? Is he going to add more to his plate? I mean, this is cool. The pocket stuff is fun. The way, especially today, tonight when he literally put his gooch right in Matt Hardy's face and just pinned him with the hand in the pockets. So it was one way to do it. But I think you're right. It's lost a little bit of his luster. He's still the man. He's still cool as hell. But do you see him being anything more? No. I think he needs to grow the gimmick, evolve, do something maybe a little different, add something to it. I don't know. But ever since the Mimosa match, it's kind of been a little bit more of this than any going up. So I don't know.
Yeah, he has literally one of the most interesting gimmicks that you've seen in professional wrestling in a very long time, but it's not really made for a weekly episodic thing where he keeps showing up week in and week out. So now he's still mega over because who he is and he's Orange Cassidy, but he's just another guy now, another wrestler, because all the stuff that you're kind of waiting for him for, because the whole thing was before. I remember he had a match with him and Pac. I forgot what pay-per-view it's. I think it was Revolution or something like that, but a couple years back it was, you're waiting for him to kick it into gear because he's lazy the entire match. That's his whole gimmick shtick. His gimmick is super interesting, but it's one that in terms of a weekly show, he's got to work even harder to keep it fresh and evolve it and make it different and make people really care about him. People just care now because he's an indie guy or he's Orange Cassidy. People just like him and his gimmick. But in terms of what he's going to bring to the table and what he becomes, still a lot left to be desired, and he's got to change things up. But either way, that's the way the show starts. And because Chris Jericho coming out, he's addressing his AEW future. Obviously, he tapped out, last week to MJF. We're hearing rumors that he's leaving to tour with Fozzy or do something like that, work a new album, whatever the case is with Fozzy. But he comes out and what he says, I want MJF at All Out September 5th, and if I lose, I never wrestle in AEW again. So
I will never wrestle in AEW again.
AEW again. So does that mean that the third time is the charm? He beats MJF because are they really going to get rid of Chris Jericho? There's not a
fourth time charm because he's 0 for 3.
Oh, it's a fourth time charm. There you go. Yeah. So how's this going to work? Does he eventually beat him? Because if Chris Jericho leaves and the inner circle's done, then what happens to the Pinnacle? Even though the Pinnacle inner circle stuff has really just fell off a cliff completely. So I don't really know. This wasn't a really good segment. The way it's headed, it's not really all that great. MJF and Chris Jericho's kind of run its course after Blood and Guts. They should have just killed it then and stopped it, but they're gonna keep going with it. So it's a weird thing because they could eventually just have Chris Jericho he's done all he really can in AEW. There's not much else he can do. So he steps to the side and it's just kind of like a figurehead now. So he was gonna do commentary and stuff like that if he loses. It's gonna interesting stuff to what's gonna happen, but the stuff has run its course. So it's not really the feud that we really care about anymore like we did at once.
Yeah, it's kind of got the vibes of O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, where it's just we've seen it so many times. Just in month after month after month after month, it's been the same thing about for 6 months. So it's we've seen it all. Hopefully this is the end. We put a fork in it. Hopefully it's a great match and that's it. And that's the end of the feud. And most likely it will be for a while. But yeah, it's just how many times can we see the same match? It's just we get it. And for sure, Chris Jericho has to go out on top, you figure. Or, like you said, there's rumors of him going on Fozzy Tour, so he might lose again. But what does that mean then? He lost 4 times to like, what's the point anymore, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. We'll see where this all goes. But it's a stacked card, and it's just one of the many matches on a stacked card. So, you know, there's that. But MJF is like, the top guys.
There's like 3 matches right now on the card that nobody really cares about, and it's gonna be MJF Chris Jericho because the feud is like run its course. Paul White versus QT Marshall. That's one nobody really cares about. And then you're gonna have Kojima versus Moxley, which I don't think a ton of people are gonna care about because Kojima's on the older side. So it's like, why is this match happening? He should be taking on Tanahashi or something like that for the the US title. I don't know, something like that. Okay. But it's kind of one of those 3 matches that like they're on the card just to have them there. That's why it feels like All Out's gonna be their biggest show of the year. They're eventually gonna establish it that way. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But next thing on the show was the semifinals for the World Tag Team Championship Eliminator Tournament to see who faces Jurassic Express on Friday, to see who faces the Bucks on next Sunday or Saturday, whichever day it is. All out in the cage match. So it was Varsity Blondes versus the Lucha Bros. Now there was some weird wonky spots in this. I just a lot of stuff is just really set up, so that stuff throws me off a little bit when stuff is just kind of you guys are just waiting and kind of everything's really set up. I mean, Lucha Bros is one of the best tag teams on the face of the planet. Super fun to watch. Super fun tag team. They can do anything and everybody just gets super over. I do think from time to time, Penta tends to push the pandering just a bit too much, where it kind of takes you out of the match and then everything starts to kind of slow down and feel kind of set up. If he just does it like, during like not during spots, but like in between spots, that's okay. But he does it like during spots. One thing, like if I had to be nitpicky about Penta, it's that. But they get the win, Lucha Bros. The Jurassic Express come in, they shake their hands, the Bucks get involved, the Bucks get beat up. You have Brandon Cutler still with that spray. That thing's getting kind of old. He just keeps using it nonstop. I don't know. Lucha Bros, a lot of fun. They're going to take out Jurassic Express. It's going to be a hell of a match on Friday. It should take up majority of Rampage is going to be that match. I kind of think, I don't know, it's a tough call between Lucha Bros and Jurassic Express, the 2 best tag teams by far in AEW. Well, no, FTR, I put them up there as well. And, they're all more seemingly better than the Bucks at this point, like, and more of like for them to be champions. So I think the Bucks are like running, towards their end at All Out. I don't know who to pick though between these 2 teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough choice. It's a toss up. Both teams work right now, so it's just kind of, we're just gonna. I think everybody's gonna like whoever wins out of both these teams because they're both over, and it's gonna be a fun match. Some of the spots in this match were just like, there was one where Phoenix does like this stunner where he like jumps up or like does like a roll, and Brian Pillman Jr. is kind of like sitting there waiting for it like this. It throws me off. I don't like stuff like that. The timing was off in a couple of times matches, so those are things that just kind of throw me off. But the tag division is strong. It's AEW is tag team wrestling, so it's definitely showing that class. And the fact that we have 2 tag teams that are so over going against one of the best tag teams of all time in the Bucks, I mean, what can you do? You really can't go wrong whichever team wins. Yeah, you really can. So it's interesting how this is going to go down, but the Bucks seem to be like at their end of their run coming at All Out. Next thing I show is Red Velvet versus Jamie Hayter. Not much to talk about here. Hayter gets the win. Chris Statlander scheduled to face Britt Baker at All Out for the women's title. So she comes out, helps out, Red Velvet, attacks the crew of Britt Baker and all them. Just more setup. That's all it is. Not much to talk about. It kind of felt like filler. Yeah, it felt like filler. We all know Britt Baker's not going to lose. We're also going to have the buy-in casino battle royal for the women. Thunder Rosa is in there, so she could be that. We could see Ruby Soho show up. There's a couple of surprises we could have for that match as well. But next thing to show was a CM Punk's Dynamite debut. It's kind of run-of-the-mill stuff for Punk. You already knew who was going to talk about. He comes out. He's there with Tony Schiavone. The crowd is hot for him. Obviously, he doesn't have to do much in this like kind of honeymoon phase of it because it's CM Punk. He's back. Everybody's going to cheer him nonstop. So that's what you get here. He does tease Daniel Bryan because everybody's going and doing the yes chant, and he says like that's somebody else's shtick, so you have to be a little more patient on that. So obviously teasing, he's showing up.
That's somebody else's shtick, and you might just need to be a little bit more patient. Okay.
Showing up. We all know what's happening. It's a pretty wild time that all these guys are going to be in AEW at one time. It's interesting how they're going to do it, but Punk's whole thing is about how he sees all these young guys in the back, and it's all about not proving the haters, doubters wrong, but about proving to himself that he can still go in the ring with these young guys. Now, there's a couple ways you can go with this. Does he just take on all young guys? Does he lose to all them? I'm assuming if he's gonna if the storyline is him proving to himself, he's gonna go over on all these young guys, which he kind of has to, because he's such a it was such a mega moment, him coming back, that you kind of really have to push him heavy. Now, does he continuously face just random people that he wants to face because that's what he wants to do? He wants to face young guys here and there, boom, boom, boom. Or do you immediately put him in big time money feuds? I think you got to strike while the iron is hot, because you don't really know how the run is going to end up. So you don't want him just facing a bunch of young guys and it just being like, oh, okay, CM Punk's taking on this guy. Oh, that's cool. He's taking on Orange Cassidy. Oh, he's taking on Pac. He's taking on. He needs to be in like some feuds with some substance. So I hope Tony Khan and company doesn't kind of just push the like, oh, CM Punk is just want to get over. He wants to work with all the young guys because it's not WWE, whatever, all that stuff like that. I just hope that he gets some solid feuds in terms of stories built around them. And I think, something like that maybe might work out best. But obviously good stuff from Punk. He's a tremendous promo. Always has been, always will be.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd's so hot for him. He's back. He's returned. But we're all just happy to have him here, and like everybody's super excited. So it just, right now you can't do anything wrong with him. But I don't want to see that. I mean, we can save that for later in his run where he's facing younger guys and putting guys over, and like kind of when Cena was the U.S. champion, he was taking just like a new guy every week and trying to put them over, and can you go toe to toe with the champ type of thing. I think that's better for later on. Right now, you got to strike while the iron's hot. You gotta show the world what you're made of. You're AEW. This is a legit thing, and we have one of the biggest stars on the planet right now in the world of wrestling, CM Punk. We have to toss him in there with guys like Kenny Omega, John Moxley. Like, those are the matches you have to start off with. I think you started off hot. I think one of those feuds has to happen from the get-go. We got the Darby Allin thing. You beat him, whatever the case may be with this match. He has to win.
He has to.
You're not going to win. Isn't this in Illinois?
Chicago.
I think.
Yeah, it's not. It's like a suburb of Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, you're freaking in Chicago. Like, he's going to win. The crowd's going to be stupid on fire. So he just has to win. But he has to go, I think, jump into something bigger right after. I know he wants to do like the young guys and put guys over, but like right now it just needs to be something where he's hot. He can't be just another one of the guys. He has to be, he has to be the top two guy. He just has to be. And you brought him back the way you brought him back. He has to be, especially right now. Like, you got all the momentum, everything's rolling in the right direction. You need to do it. Don't do a Bret Hart to WCW stuff. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get him into some important feuds to start off with, because again, you don't know if he can get injured. He's older now. How his body reacts to certain things.
He can't see wrestling in 7 years.
Yeah, he might try to do some stuff that may not work the same way it did and may hurt. You never know. He's done a lot of UFC training, so that takes a toll on his body. It's just a lot of stuff going on. So you want to kind of just strike now while the iron is hot. Then you have Daniel Bryan coming in as well. So it's like big names. I mean, obviously, if you bring in these big names just to kind of meander around and just do random stuff, it's not really going to work out in the end, and it's not really going to propel you to where you want to get to. So you really got to kid him. You want to start off here, but you got to get into something with some substance right afterwards, because if not, it'll make a ton of sense. But next thing on the show is the trios match. It's one of the most worthless factions in AEW, and it's the Wingmen. JD Drake, Cesar Bononi, and Ryan Nemeth. They're taking on Darby Allin, John Moxley, Eddie Kingston. It's just a way for Moxley and Kingston kind of kick some ass. They get the win, and then Daniel Garcia comes out, beats up Allin. So not only is Allin dealing with CM Punk, but CM Punk is obviously the guy to get Darby Allin in the pay-per-view. This is a big match. Him and Daniel Garcia ain't gonna sell nothing. So in terms of a pay-per-view, so they'll get their match later on, like Dynamite's down the road or Rampage's down the road. So that's the feud Darby Allin will focus on after he gets CM Punk at All Out. It's pretty much all there is to that. Then you would see obviously the promo afterwards from Moxley talking about Kojima. He's gonna take him on at All Out. Here we go. So next thing on the show is Kenny Omega in the ring talking about All Out. He's gonna take out Christian Cage. Here comes Christian Cage. He comes out, talks about Don Callis, right? And then there's teases. They say Vince McMahon. Don Callis says the word Vince McMahon, and everybody boos it. And then it's funny because he compares himself to Eddie Graham, Vince McMahon, Greg Gagne, Bill Watts, and then he says that Kenny, being like a family member to him, isn't Eric Watts or Greg Gagne. So that's pretty funny. He just shits on Eric Watts and Greg Gagne. Here comes Kenny. He takes the mic. He says, "You think you know me? You think you know me, Punk?" And then Don Callis tells Christian Cage, "You always be second best," talking about him and Edge. So there's a lot of shots at like a lot of innuendo about Edge and stuff like that and WWE. So then they beat him down, and then here comes the Elite Hunter. Even though the actual Elite Hunter is already in the ring, Christian Cage, because he's more of an Elite Hunter than Frankie Kazarian. But Frankie Kazarian comes out, helps him out, and then at Rampage you're gonna get Christian Cage and Frankie Kazarian versus Kenny Omega and Brandon Cutler. So you already know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a throwaway nothing match right there.
Yeah, I mean, the promo was fun. It was good. It got me. I wasn't all that excited for this match, but this promo got me a bit excited just to see Christian back in there. Christian's promos are really good. I don't remember him being like the best promo. I like him more naturally, like when he had the podcast, like him by himself.
Yes.
He's a natural a-hole, so it just works pretty good. But yeah, this was a really good promo. Don Callis was good. I enjoyed Don Callis. I like what he was saying. The part where he said you always be number two. Like, I'm sorry, Christian, but yeah, you're always going to be number two.
True.
So it's not a bad thing because Edge is one of the greatest of all time, but you're really, really good. So you can't really hate. But yeah, I mean, him versus Kenny, it should be good. It should be a good time. But that is not the money match that Kenny Omega should be in. He's the AEW champion. He needs to be in a bigger match. And in my opinion, not saying that Christian isn't a big guy. He's a big name, but he hasn't really been booked that huge. I know he won the TNA Impact Championship, but that doesn't really mean anything. That's like winning any old title. Let's be for real. So it just kind of is what it is, but I want to see Kenny versus CM Punk. That's what I want to see. So let's go. I just want to hop this Christian feud and go right to Punk. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think majority of people want to see that go down as well, like immediately after. But the next thing on the show is another trios match, the second of the night, Gun Club versus The Factory. Two factions, again, nobody cares about. I didn't know the Gun Club was still a thing. I always think they're part of the Nightmare family because they built Nightmare. I don't know. Who the hell knows? I don't know. It's weird. But whatever. Paul White got, distraction, allowing the Gun Club to get the win. Nobody really cares because Paul White versus QT Marshall, nobody really cares either about that.
No, not at all.
Yes, so it ends with that. Yeah, so the final thing of the show was Malachi Black versus Brock Anderson. Some Arn Anderson, not Brock Lesnar, but Brock Anderson. So it wasn't much of a match. Looks like some live rounds are being thrown, kind of a seasoning type of thing for Brock Anderson, kind of get his licks in. For Malachi to get his licks in there and kind of a little bit of rookie hazing or like anything.
I think Arn told him to do it.
I'm pretty sure Arn. Yeah,
like latest shit in there. Yeah, so yeah. I don't mind that.
I'm pretty sure Arn is old school. He's probably the agent of the match. He's probably telling Malachi, like, lay it in, Brock, take it. You got to get your some shots in. You pay your dues. That's one word I'm looking for. Pay your dues. Yeah, exactly. So the match is very short. Seems like Arn is gonna throw in the towel, but he doesn't. Malachi hits the black mass on Brock Anderson, beats him. Here comes Arn Anderson into the ring, blocks a black mass, like straight blocks it, but then gets a low blow and then gets kicked in the head anyways. Then we have
oh my God! Oh, there it is! What a round!
Anyways, then we have Shoddy Lee Johnson coming out, and for some reason Malachi Black kind of dodges him a little bit, which I wasn't sure was the right move because it's like shoddy. It's like he's not really done much. It's kind of weird. So it's like, you're going to get Cody versus him probably at Malachi versus Cody at All Out. I'm assuming that's where they're headed. Because Andrade is going to be there against Pac, so that's another match that's announced. So they're probably going to get all their big guys there, the big signings, new guys in there, all that stuff like that, because it's like the biggest show of the year. But I don't know. Is he going to take out Shoddy next week? And then that's it. I don't know. I don't understand why he would kind of like show up and then Malachi kind of just bow out of the ring. I don't know.
Yeah, that made much sense to me. But this was like just a glorified jobber match, basically. They just there was some fun storyline in there. I liked it. I mean, is Brock Anderson going to be a big star? Probably not. But it's good to see an Anderson out there. Keep the name going. Always good to see Arn there. So that was a plus. But yeah, it was just a glorified jobber match. They're just kind of pushing towards, obviously Cody, Malachi Black. That's what they're pushing for, and we just gotta sit there and remember that Malachi Black is here. So that's basically what this kind of was, and just to show that kick can literally beat anybody, and we saw it beat Cody, and it just took out the Anderson family. So it was what it was. A decent way to end it, but bigger and better things are for Malachi Black, him versus Cody. Let's just get there.
Yeah, it's just a reminder that CM Punk's here. We're all excited, but Malachi's still a guy we brought up. We have big things planned for him. All that stuff like that. You saw the picture on social media with Malachi and CM Punk training together, sitting down the octagon together. So I thought that was pretty funny. But that's the end of the show. So we'll see what happens on Rampage. I appreciate you guys for tuning into our AEW Dynamite review and reaction. Make sure you tune in Friday for SmackDown, Rampage review and reaction. Saturday's Wrestling Report is going to be all about Bryan, CM Punk, Adam Cole. So you already know what you're gonna get with Wrestling for me and Jonesy Chats Wrestling. Also working on two videos out there for you guys. Make sure you wait out. Stay tuned for those videos that I'm gonna drop hopefully this weekend, if not early next week. I appreciate you guys for tuning in for this one. Make sure to like and subscribe. Catch you guys on the next one.
Later.